How are y'all doing today? I got a good topic today. It's going to be around PPP. But before I get into it, my name is Ephraim Egbeli, CPA. Me and my company, we help our clients manage their money so they can scale their business with confidence. And I just got off a call with a client where she told me some alarming things. And I had been hearing a lot about this stuff really bubbling and going on. I didn't really want to talk about it. Well, I probably should have, but I didn't talk about it just because you know how you think of something, but then you forget about it. Well, it came up again today, and it just made me want to make this video. But this is in regards to the PPP, right? So there's a lot of people that are doing PPP for people, and they're getting 30% of the money that they're able to get people. Now, if you know me, you know I don't knock anybody for what they charge. I feel you should charge what you feel you are worth. But if you think about it, if I'm charging 30% of a PPP loan for someone, then wouldn't it make sense for me to figure out how to get them the most amount of money back so that I can get a bigger return? Right, it makes sense, right? But then when you think about it, if I'm getting you a large amount of money for PPP, there might be a situation that comes up where you don't qualify for all the money that you're getting. So in this case, when I was talking to a client earlier, she was, well, she's not a client yet, but we had a good discovery call. She was telling me how she recently, 2 weeks ago, got a PPP loan from somebody for $131,000. And she makes a good amount of money in her business. But some of the flags that went off in my head were, number one, she didn't have payroll, right? So she didn't run payroll for any of her employees or contractors in her business. Well, employees, right? So that means that, you know, she was paying people in a situation like this, she was paying people by cash. But if you pay people by cash, a transfer, Cash App, quick pay, check, a lot of times if the payroll tax is not taken out of it, that's not considered payroll. That person is actually classified now as an independent contractor, although that might be an incorrect classification, but that's beside the point. So that was the first red flag that went off in my head, was that the way she was paying people. Secondly, another red flag that went off in my head was the fact that she had to go to the bank and get cashier's checks and pay these people that did it for her. There was no contract signed, so they literally were able to get $40,000 from her with no contract signed, no paper trail behind the whole thing. And it was alarming. It was a lot of red flags that in my mind went off that didn't really make sense. And another one, the third one, was that she's a single member LLC. So that means that she created an LLC, she owns that LLC 100%. And that means in the tax world that you have to file a Schedule C tax return. That means that that Schedule C tax return that you're filing has to be included with your personal tax return, right? But if anybody that does PPP applications remembers, there's a limit on how much money you can get whenever you are a Schedule C. So whenever you're a Schedule C, the IRS says, unless legislation has changed, but when I was doing PPP last year in 2020, the legislation said that your PPP was limited to $20,800, which is $100,000 of profit. So you have to give them a Schedule C tax return that shows that your business profited $100,000. So they were able to get her $131,000 of PPP money when she really should have at max only qualified for $20,800. Another thing that came up, and this is all crazy, right? Because these things are happening, and if you have gone through this or you know anyone that has gone through this where they've went to someone and that person was able to get them a substantial amount of money and they charge 30 to 40%, let me know in the comments, because I really want to figure out like what happens next, because that was a question that she had. She asked me, okay, now that I've gotten this money and I've paid them off, what happens? What should I be aware of, right? Should I return the money? Should I keep the money? And in that situation, I told her, you know what? That's something that I'm gonna have to do some more research on and really figure out, because that's a good question. I mean, you got a lot of money. Even if you did spend all that money on your business, does it make sense for you to keep it, knowing that now that you know that you got a lot of money illegally, right? Because at the end of the day, the documentation falls on you as the client, as the person, as the applicant. It doesn't really fall on that person. And why does it not fall on that person? Because most likely that person did that PPP application for you as you. They didn't put their name anywhere on it. So there's no trace or trail of them. There's no scent of them being a part of this transaction. So it's really, really messed up, because in a situation like this, she could get in trouble and that person makes off scot-free. They could change their number and have $40,000 in the bank and go do this to the next person and the next person and the next person. So those of you that don't have a legitimate business and that are getting PPP and EIDL money, beware. Those of you who do have a legitimate business and you're getting money that may not seem right, beware. Okay, the fourth thing that came up in my mind was, I had asked her immediately, did they give you any paperwork? Was there any paper trail on what they did? Like, did they show you any documentation? Did they show you any application documents? She said no. So all these are alarming red flags. And on top of that, the tax return that they submitted to the bank does not match the tax return that she has submitted to the IRS. And why does it not match? Because she hasn't done her tax return yet. And that was the main reason why she reached out to me. She reached out to me because she hadn't done her 2019 return and she wanted us to help her with that. And so we've agreed to help her with that, and we're gonna make sure that her return gets filed. But even then, what if what we end up filing doesn't match what has been submitted? What if it does match and she's already hit that limit, the limit of 20,800, and she got 131,000, right? So there's so many things that are pretty alarming. And if you know any resolution to this, also leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know as well, because at the end of the day, I'm a CPA, and if you're a CPA, you understand that you're a certified public accountant, which holds a lot of weight. That means that you are to act in the best interest of the public. You are to make sure that the public gets taken care of, that they get shielded away from any of these type of scams, any of these type of fraudulent things that happen. We are ethically sworn under oath to make sure that we uphold the highest of standards. So that's another thing too. Whenever you need work done, seek out a CPA, right? Because the CPAs have a license that they have to lose if anything goes wrong. And I don't know too many CPAs that are gonna do illegal stuff to lose their license, because all the hell that we had to go through just to get this license, it ain't worth it, you know? So make sure that you start getting with professionals to get your stuff taken care of. Make sure that you do your due diligence, do your research. Google these people, right? Before you work with someone, go look them up, right? The same way that we would look someone up before we get in a relationship with that person, go Google them, go look them up, go ask people about their interactions with them. You know, make sure that, and then obviously you can tell from the person's response if that person's just hating on them or if they literally had a really bad situation. And then also, if they had a bad situation, how long ago was that too? All those things matter, right? But do your due diligence before you work with somebody, because it's not worth getting yourself in trouble with the government just so you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, every day we wake up, we see in the news the different people who have now been caught using PPP or EIDL money fraudulently. You know, they're getting this money, and they're getting it pretty easily and quickly. That's another thing she said. She got her money within 2 weeks. No, I take that back. She got approved within 2 weeks, but she told me that she still hasn't received her money. So all this work that she put in, all the money that she gave them, 40 grand, and she has not received her $131,000 yet. So that's another thing. Don't give money, or if you give money, give a portion of it or a deposit or half, you know, if you're working with somebody, but don't give them the full thing before that EIDL or PPP money comes back. You know, because you don't know what's going to happen. That person might disappear, and they might be gone or whatever, and they might disappear on you, and now they're on to the next victim. You know, so I just wanted to record this video real quickly to really talk to people about the scams that are out here. You know, beware of all these things. Beware of the people that you can tell they're just in this for money. You know, is that person you're working with, do they have notable clients that they're working with that can vouch for them? You know, all those things are important. Do your due diligence, do your research, interview them. If you have to interview them multiple times, do whatever it is that you have to do to feel comfortable with working with them and giving them your money. But this is E from CPA, and until next time, y'all have a good day.